Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Today's webinar is on how to use Facebook ads for your mosques. And I want to stress how simple this actually is. They made the process for being able to manage and run your ads really simple. I mean, for obvious reasons, this is how Facebook makes money, so they want it to be extremely easy. So I do want to stress that part. The main part of this presentation isn't going to take very long, probably like 10 minutes or less. I'll go on then with like some more advanced topics, and then of course Q&A for as long as necessary. But I just want to stress that this is a really simple process, so hopefully I can show it like that. So Brother Osama, I'm wondering if you can, brother, I'm wondering if you can give me the ability to share my screen.
I believe you can try, and I'll make sure that you are.
Okay. It currently says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Go ahead.
Okay. Awesome. So everyone should be seeing my empty Chrome tab right now. So I'm going to start off from facebook.com. And on Facebook, I'm helping manage two pages that I'd like to talk about. One, there's this page for honey. So my parents have a few hives and they like to sell the honey from that. So I'm going to use this as an example for how to make ads. The other page that I'd like to talk about is Tarteel. This is a AI Quran memorization app that some friends have made, and I'm just helping with the ads part. This is using AI to help you memorize the Quran and fix the tajweed. So, for example, let's look here. This is the page management. This is the page management view. So perhaps some of you have seen this. If you have a page on Facebook, you should be seeing something like this when you go to that page if you're an admin. And so let's look here on the left. We see Ad Center. And let's go to all ads. Okay, so the first thing we're seeing here is it's showing us a number of ads that we ran. So for your page, you'll likely see nothing here. It's just showing a summary of your ad. You see there's a button to create ads. So let's go ahead and click create ad. Actually, before that, if you just click on the main Ad Center button, I had clicked on all ads. If you click on Ad Center here, this is the summary page. And the most important thing that I want to show here is that they try and make it easy for you to make a ad. For example, you'll see stuff like boost posts, and actually you'll probably see this on your main page as well. They like to add this button in random places. Basically, what they're suggesting you to do is you click this, and it automatically generates all the stuff for the ad. What it's doing is it's trying to spend some ad money, some of your ad money, to boost a post that you made in the past. So right here is a post that was already made, who knows how many days ago, and it's suggesting for me to boost it. By boost, it means just broadcast it to more people using Facebook money. So I'll quickly go over some of the settings. So right here, there's a goal, and this is an important one. So you have to sort of ask yourself what you're trying to get done, and they give you some pre-made options here. There is get more engagement, so that's people reacting, liking, commenting on your post. There is get more leads. This has more to do with getting customer information, get more messages, and then there's like automatic. Basically, you let Facebook decide. And also, if anyone has any questions at any point, please just go ahead and jump in. No need to wait until the Q&A part. So this button is basically allowing you to add a button to the advertisement that the user can click and then immediately take them somewhere. So for example, if you were trying to sell something, you could have like a shop now button. Or let's say it's an event, you could have like a book now. And then down here, you put the link to an outside website, or I think it can even be a Facebook URL link, and then they'll be taken there. There's also stuff like send message. Okay, on to the next one. Audience. This is probably the most important part about advertisements, and this also gets into like what Facebook brings that's special about advertisements, and also what gets Facebook a lot of flack from the outside world in terms of how they run their advertisements. So what Facebook is trying to do with their advertisements is they want to allow advertisers to target who sees their ads. So for example, if the company is selling something that only males use or that only females use, that's where this audience part comes in. So let's click this edit icon. It lets you choose the gender, the age, and the location. So this location is pretty relevant. I can show you later with one of the advertisements that I'm running for the honey that we're selling. But what we did was we selected the specific town that we live in. So my parents, they're in New York. Let's just say that was the place where we live. And then you can select the like the size of the area that you're targeting people. Let's see where that's done. For some reason, this ad isn't letting it, but usually what they'll do is they'll actually let you, it might be because it's in Canada and Canada has special rules, but they'll basically let you choose the radius of this. So the reason this is relevant is for your mosque. If you're trying to target people within your area, you could select this up to, I think the most detailed you can get is within a 10-mile radius. So for example, that's what we used with our honey ad, and I'll show that later. Now, the other useful thing besides the location is interest. So I have these left over because this is the we're on the Tarteel page, which again is the Quran AI memorization app. And when I ran these ads, I sort of thought like, okay, what is the demographic that I think would be interested in like a fancy like AI app that is allegedly supposed to help with your Quran memorization. And so what I initially went to, the settings were, I set this to the entire United States. I didn't look into any specific area. I set the age for young people. I just assumed younger people would be more interested in this. And then for the interest, I sort of thought like, I just sort of made the assumption that if I wanted to target Muslims, obviously because it's a Quran app, and I wanted to target maybe more so the younger generation, I just made an assumption that these younger generation, maybe they followed Omar Suleiman or Yasser Qadhi. So what this is doing is it's targeting people who Facebook thinks have those interests, which basically really just means like, do these users like Omar Suleiman's page? Do they interact with his posts that he makes? But you can really do anything here. Like if you did something like Islam, it would, I don't have something for just Islam, but they have stuff related to that. So if it was something, for example, God in Islam, that could be a group of people who were maybe interested in Islam and trying to learn more about it. And the last important thing that I want to mention here, again, the section that we're on is about targeting audience right here, which is probably the most important part of your ad. Actually, it is the most important part of your ad. It is the reach. And Facebook kind of tells you here about whether your reach is good or not. Let's say you make your reach really broad. You say, I want to target everyone in the United States, any age, any gender, and your interest, you put something like pizza. That reach here, like, let me just show you an example. I do pizza. The reach is 13 million people. So Facebook is basically saying 13 million people fit into the category that you suggested. That's kind of too broad. And so generally you want your ads to be much smaller in order to reach the niche of people that you care about and that would be interested in clicking on your ad. Okay, so that's audience. And you can save this audience for reuse later. You'll set the duration. Generally, longer duration is better. So like, I wish I had more statistics on what's better. Maybe it says here. But generally, like a longer duration, like a week or more would be better rather than spending like all of your ads on a single day. And then you can specify the budget and the placements. So through this tool, you can not only do it through Facebook, but also Instagram. Instagram is probably a good area for your mosque to get into if it hasn't already. I don't have an Instagram, but I feel like most people do nowadays. And there's also Messenger ads. This is kind of a newer thing, but there are ads now being placed within the Messenger app itself. Pixel is a topic we'll cover more later. It's a bit more of an advanced topic. And then of course you select how you want to pay for that. So that was the topic of like boosting a post. I'm going to pause here to just ask if anyone has any questions. Okay, now I just want to go over a little bit about like creating other ads. That was, does anyone have a question? Okay, I want to talk about like other types of ads that you can create. And this sort of goes over the different topics. I sort of already like talked about it, but I think promoting your page could be a pretty common one that, you know, someone would want to-
Omar, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think your audio is kind of fading in and out. And I can see one of the participants is asking the same question if anybody else is experiencing the same issue. So maybe, I don't know what you can do with your audio, but if you can, your audio is not as clear as we would expect.
Got it. Was it like that the entire time?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I think I can fix that. The only thing is, I think it would take a minute for me to log into my other laptop. So
That's okay. If you do that, it's better so that people can hear you well.
Got it. Yeah, just 1 minute as I log into my other device.
Okay.
And this time, if anyone has any questions, please.
Yeah, I hope that people can also raise their hand if they have any questions. So you can mark that too for those who have questions.
Got it.
And this is also a good opportunity for all of the attendees while Omar is fixing that to type out any questions. If you don't want to, ask them live or anything of that nature, you can just take this time to kind of type out those questions that you had in mind, inshallah, and he'll be able to answer them.
All right. I'm going to hop out and hop back in. My other device is ready. I just don't want to be logged in two
Okay.
places. It creates a lot of echo. All right.
So on that note, as we are waiting for Omar to come back, I want to thank you all, of course, for coming. And if you specifically know of an organization that you think could benefit from this, inshallah, please, feel free to share it with them, inshallah. Not only the one we are in right now, but the one we will be having on the 8th as well, which I'm sure, inshallah, Brother Usama will talk about and whatnot. But let's try and share it with whoever can benefit, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Omar, you can try now. Are you ready?
Yeah. How's my voice coming in now?
Oh yeah, much better than before. Oh yeah.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay. No problem. Problem is fixed. So that's good.
Could you make me a co-host again?
Yes. Yes. All right. So yes, now.
Okay. All right, so continuing on, I apologize for the background noise. I'm next to a busy street. So we go to our Facebook page that we manage and we go to the ads manager, which is available here on the left. And I think I've just about covered all the important parts here. Let's go on to the next part. One second. In order to get the links I was going to share, I need to do a step on this new device I'm using to sync over the changes. All right. So next thing I'm going to talk about is something called Ads Manager or Facebook Business Suite. So let's just talk about how to get there. So if we go to google.com and we search for Facebook Ads Manager. First thing that'll come up is an overview of how to use Ads Manager, which I highly suggest to check out. And the second link here if we click that, again, it's goes over some stuff, but you can click here, go to Ads Manager. And then what you guys will have to do initially when you come here is you'll actually have to sign up for your account. It's more like linking. You already have a Facebook account and you have a Facebook page. You just need to link this into a tool. It's really simple. And then you'll have your ads account here. So what we see here immediately is basically all the ads that I've ever ran are listed here. And the only reason this tool is useful is sometimes if you want to see an overview of all your ads and you don't want to see it in like that, like the fancy UI on facebook.com, just because that was like a newly built thing and sometimes it misses things. This is like the source of truth. It has all the information. So for example, you'll see here, I have one active ad and it's the honey one again. So you can click on it and you can see all the details. You basically, this is useful because if you have a page with a lot of ads, or you're taking this whole ad stuff seriously, it's more than just like a one-off thing. This is a really good overview of what ads you're running, how much money you're spending. You can also create new ads here, so you can just click create. And the way to create ads here isn't as like fancy looking as the other one, but it still definitely works. Let's say, for example, you're trying to do traffic. Other options again are like app installs, engagement, messages. The buying type, honestly, I don't know too much about the difference here. I think either of them, I think really are fine. I would go with reach and frequency. So what we're creating here is something called a campaign, which is basically a fancy way of saying like, this is an ad and it's an ad like setup that includes like who you want to target, how, like what you're aiming for, what your goal is. So like there's sort of three parts. The first is like, what is your goal? Like, is it traffic versus engagement? Then I'll have to go through some more stuff, but the second part is like who you want to target. So that's what this page is selecting. So let's say I'm doing the honey thing again. I select my page here. The schedule is here. The audience targeting again is here. And then here's this ad format. So the biggest difference between what I'm doing now through this tool called Ad Manager and what we were doing on Facebook.com again is this has a lot more detail. So if you look here already, I have multiple ad formats that I didn't really have available originally. It lets you choose images to upload. You can have a video, a 360 photo, stories, carousel. This is only for Instagram. And you can choose the platforms that you want it to appear. The other nice thing here is, I don't know why the budget here is pretty crazy, but let's make that a bit more realistic. For some reason, I must somewhere have set that I want to reach like a lot of people, 200,000 people. So it's saying my budget's not enough, but that doesn't really matter. It always shows you like how it's actually going to appear on like the different formats. So this is how it would look like on like, I guess the Facebook app. And yeah, I won't spend too much more time here, but this is like a lot more fine-tuned settings than that were available before. Okay. So next up. Again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to jump in. I'm going to go into a more advanced topic, which is a Facebook pixel. Maybe you've heard of this term before. What a Facebook pixel helps you with is if you have a website that is not on Facebook and you want to get into—
Sorry, Omar, there's a question. They say, is it better to post the ad on both Facebook and Instagram?
Yes, it definitely is better to post it on Facebook and Instagram, but it also depends on like where your audience is. I'd say it's better to post in both because what you can do is you can see what your engagement was. And I'll actually talk about this. You can see like how successful your ad was on both Facebook and Instagram. Let's say you post to both and like you don't get a lot of traction on Instagram, but you get a lot of views and posts on Facebook. That can at least tell you that like Facebook is the way to go if you want your dollars to be spent most effectively. But I think if you're starting out, definitely use both because there are audiences on both. And like, well, these days, a lot of people are using Instagram as well. You don't get it for free. So if you do it on both, you're going to have to pay for both. But I'd say definitely start out posting on both. I'm wondering myself how I can see like the questions. Because when I'm screen sharing, I don't really see the normal Zoom setup. I just see sort of my picture on the right. Oh, well, Sam, if anyone asks any questions, if you could please step in, that'd be really helpful. Okay. So Facebook Pixel. So what Facebook Pixel does is it helps you gather information about what type of people are visiting your website. And I'm talking about a website that's not on Facebook. So I'll go into detail about like how you'll actually use it with like Facebook ads later, but I'll just quickly go over like how you'd create and install it. So the first thing you need is obviously you need a website outside of Facebook that you want to get information on. And you need to have the ability to update the code of that website. Because the way this works is Facebook, the detailed instructions are here. Just Google like Facebook Pixel how to use. But basically Facebook is going to give you like a bunch of like code that you can basically copy paste. The steps are here. For example, that code is there. You copy paste that into your website, and this will again like tell you where to do that. You just need to have the ability to edit your website's code and someone with a little bit of tech savviness of how to do that. The next step after that is we'll talk about how it's actually used. So Facebook Pixel will allow you to use a custom audience with your ad. So earlier we talked about audiences, like you set the age, you set male or female, and you can set the interest. A pixel will let you do custom audiences. For example, let's say you wanted to target the people who went on your website, and let's say they started filling out some sort of form, but they didn't finish filling out the form. As it's saying here, you can target those people specifically because what the Facebook Pixel does is that code that was added to your website keeps track of who those people are, and then you can use that audience on Facebook. Or another example is you can create an audience. So in other words, you can show ads to the people who visited your website in the past month. Lastly, I just want to talk about like what is Facebook. When we talk about targeting, how is it like targeting people? I just want to give you an example with myself. These are the advertisers that Facebook has been trying to show me. So stuff related to the outdoors because I like hiking. Stuff related to sort of like relief agencies, and then this they probably showed me because my occupation is I work at Facebook, so they probably figured that out somehow. And then I also wanted to show you guys some more detail into like what they're specifically using. So in this place here, I'm gonna show like what categories they use to reach me. So I think the main thing they use is like interest categories. So I'm going to click that here. And this is basically telling me like how Facebook is looking at me in terms of the ad perspective. So basically, if someone wanted to target me in an ad, like a person like me, these are the sort of things that they might want to target. Cats, Hamza Yusuf, Omar Suleiman. It's not always accurate. For example, they think I'm interested in trophy hunting for some reason. So it's not always accurate. Okay, I'm gonna pause here for questions.
Okay, let's see if we have any. Yeah, is this session recorded? Yes, this session is recorded. We will post them and share them, inshallah, with everybody.
There's one more thing that I do want to show. This is something, again, I think this is something new that they made. It's called the Facebook Business Suite. You can just Google that, Facebook Business Suite. What it's showing here is a way to analyze all the ads that you run. And let me show you an example of what I mean. So this is for the Tartil app. We ran a number of ads, so you can see there's some data here. What's useful here is it's showing how like successful we were with certain audiences. So for example, it's showing that it looks like on Facebook, men were more interested in our posts. With Instagram, it was a bit more even. It's also showing the age demographics. So this is actually a really powerful tool. After you start running some ads, you want to spend your money as efficiently as possible. And so what you should do is you go to this Facebook Business Suite, you go to the analytics, which is here in the sort of bottom on the left, and analyze the successfulness of your ads for certain demographics. So based on this stuff, I would probably target more men. And I would also target the age group of 25 to 34 more. One thing I will also mention is that this is sort of showing like the likes and the followers that you got. So like if you were specifically targeting, oh yeah, sorry, I made a mistake in my analysis. Because my ads were likely targeting people who are younger anyways, the fact that more of them like mine like makes sense. So like when you draw conclusions like this, you have to just be aware of like how you were advertising yourself. So maybe if I did like an ad that targeted people who are 30 to 50, then I'd certainly see like a lot more likes. So you know, just be aware of that when you're looking at this analysis. This is some more breakdown of the audience, specifically like what cities they were in, as well as again the age and gender. All right, that was the main content that I wanted to show. So I think there's only questions that are left.
Yes, there is another question. How much does it generally cost to post an ad? Your example showed $250. Is that typical? How frequently should we post ads?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Analytics here help with that. So for example, here in the trends, it's showing me how much I spent, and then it's showing me the, this is something called paid reach. What that means is it's the amount of people that you reached with your ad because you paid for the ad, versus something called organic reach, which is you don't pay for anything, but just because of the successfulness of your post, like people resharing it, it reached that many people. Organic reach obviously is better because you're not paying for it, but this is specifically showing you how successful your paid reach was. So let's take a look here. On March 31st, the amount spent that day was $16 and we reached 1,000 people. The like dollars versus reach is it's not always the same. It depends on the demographic you're targeting. For example, if you are targeting people in like Malaysia, it would be really, really cheap from what I've heard. That's just because like showing an ad to a certain person, it has different value because like for example, showing ads to people in like a really like first world country where people are like really well off, those are expensive ads because those people, it's probably because they use Facebook more and they consider them people who are more willing to maybe like buy things. And so Facebook, you know, makes that audience more expensive. So it's variable. It depends on who you're targeting. One thing that is like a useful like sort of metric to use, this is usually used in terms of like selling, is like they try and say like for every dollar I spend in terms of advertising, how much money do I get back? That probably isn't too relevant to Moz. And like I think in order to get those like data, since you'd be selling things, you probably have to use the pixel that I said, because you'd be selling it on another website. So you have to, the pixel I think can handle that math. But at the end of the day, like if you're trying to get something like reach, more followers and more likes, that you'll just have to make the judgment for yourself. Like how much money do you want to spend to get, let's say 100 likes? And if you run your ads and you get that, is it worth it or is it not worth it?
Okay, great. Okay, one more question here. Does reach mean likes, shares, appears on their news feed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So reach is just a number, as it's saying here, the reach is the number of people who saw your ads at least once. And it looks like it's making a difference between that and impressions. Impressions is like multiple views from the same person. So right now I'm looking at reach. So again, that's it only counts each person once. But if I click here now for impressions, you'll see it's 7,000. So it's bigger for the, and I paid the same amount. So impressions is counting the number of times your ad was seen, counting a single person potentially several times, like if they saw it several times. And reach is just the number of times they saw it. There's also something else, like besides reach, there's like, I forgot the word, but it has to do with like them sort of interacting with your, yeah, I think that's what this is sort of measuring, your page likes. But this isn't like, they can't really make a correlation between your page likes and like the amount of money you spent. The best they can show you is like your page likes over time and like the money you spent over time, and you can try and like, you know, just draw a correlation between those two. I'm wondering if there's a chart like that. You don't see a chart like that, but you can sort of tell, like if you spend an ad and you start seeing like the number of people who like your page to start increasing, that chart is almost definitely somewhere. I just don't think it's in the ads. It's probably in some of the other insights related to your, might be here in activity. But yeah, I'll consider that question answered for now. And in the meantime, I'll just keep looking here. One thing I just want to emphasize is I do think this Facebook Business Suite is sort of like the one website to remember, because it also links you here to your ads manager. So instead of having to keep track of like separate, you know, a bunch of separate websites, just remember Facebook Business Suite. Your page will show up here. It has the insights. It has your ads. It has here a link if you go to the bottom for more tools to the ads manager. Ads manager was that thing where you can do a lot more detail into your ads. So I definitely suggest to remember this one. And of course, you can also do ads from the facebook.com like page. They're just like, you just have less control and insights there. Any other questions?
I don't see any other questions as of now.
Should we continue until any longer, or should we?
Well, whatever you have to present, go ahead. If you have any presentations that you need to include here. The floor is open for people to ask any questions, especially those who are attending. If there's any particular thing, related to what's so far been presented, please do raise your hand, or, there's a 3 dots or 4 dots, and 3 dots, I believe. You can raise hands, and so we will be able to actually allow you to speak as well. So if you have anything that you would like to ask questions, or you can go to question and answer and post your question. Omar, you have anything that you would like to add more about, Facebook and, these kind of things?
The only 2 things I can think of now is one, there is a program that we're trying to develop to have Facebook employees who get monthly $250 of free ad credit. We're trying to create a program where we can match Facebook employees to mosques that want to make use of that, make use of those free credits. That process is still ongoing. We had that question as part of the form that everyone filled out. So we'll update mosques with that information once we get the program running on our side.
Okay, great. I think that's good.
So if I can actually just add on to that, Omar, Jazakallah khair for everything. And also, the entire team, Nada, Kareem, all of you, may Allah bless you all. I just wanted to reiterate about the cameras specifically. For those who have joined, who are joining, or someone, inshallah, in an organization that can really use these cameras, alhamdulillah, that have been donated free of charge, retail, they're $500. Please, inshallah, fill out the form. In that form, you'll also have there'll be a question about what Omar just talked about, getting matched with a Facebook employee to get $250 of ad credit donated to your organization. That is a huge, huge thing that can really benefit your organization, especially to get, your work out there and to reach your constituents and audiences. So please take advantage of that. Please make sure that you fill out the form, inshallah, and Jazakumullah khair again, Omar and Usama and everyone. Jazakallah khair.
Of course. There's just 2 more things that just came to mind. The first thing is I encourage all mosques, like I know you probably feel hesitant maybe about wanting to spend part of your budget on ads, but I do encourage you to just, if you feel that there's a need for it, if you want to increase something in the online space, or you want to get the word out about something or about your mosque in your area, just spend $50. Ads aren't something where you need to drop $1,000 or anything. $50 can go a long way and probably reach a few thousand people, depending on the audience that you're selecting. The other thing I was going to mention is the holdup that we're currently having with matching getting the free ad credits to the mosques. We're just trying to figure out a way, if there's a way to do it where we can just sort of give the ad credits. Right now, it's looking like the only way to do it was that the employee would have to be added as an admin on the page, and then they can spend the ad credits for them. That's actually how I'm doing it now for this Tartil AI page. I'm not involved in the development of this. My friends are just doing it, and they added me in an admin, so I can make these ads for them. And the final thing that comes to mind is, because I've been showing this Tartil page a lot, my payment to them was that I would plug them. So they're a Quran memorization app that has the ability to correct your recitation as you're speaking it. It's all free. They work really hard on it. It's called Tartil.
Okay, I think we have a question here. It says, thank you. Okay, good. Well, appreciate it. Thank you. Is there any other things that you believe will benefit people? A trick, a hidden jewel within Facebook that sometimes people don't know how to use, they ignore it, but actually it has some benefit. I don't know how to use Facebook. I don't use it much at all. So all of this is a Chinese for me, but hopefully you'll try to catch up because we do need to have our Facebook up and running on a full speed. And we will tackle all of those one-on-one sometimes because we really, there's a lot of basic things on Facebook that we need to get to know before we get into this stuff. That's for me. I'm sure others probably much better. They use Facebook maybe more frequently. I know our mosque is top, in terms of using Facebook. It's just amazing how many followers, and now they're planning their Ramadan campaign. And I know they spend quite a bit on marketing. So some they know how to use it, and they really put the effort on it. The more you know, the more you are good at Facebook. And I believe some of them, they even hire people who are savvy and expert, and they know how to run your Facebook, their ads and the different campaigns and how many people reach and how to. So some of them are good at that.
Yeah, I think, was that whole part the question, by the way, or was that also like?
No. I'm just kind of general talk I'm making here.
Yeah.
For those who are attending, in case they have anything that they want to ask.
Yeah, I was gonna say your explanation was really, really good. Yeah, the ads is definitely like a hidden jewel, because like if it's power, like Facebook makes all of its money from ads, so they have all the interest to make ads really powerful and useful to people. And it can be really useful from us, again, because of the power of the targeting, and because, well, everyone's using Facebook and Instagram these days. When I first heard the question, at first I thought it was like general tips for Facebook. I know this isn't the topic of the talk, but Facebook can put a lot of like garbage on your feed. And the way I learned to do it was I completely deleted my Facebook. I recreated it, and I only added my close friends, and I followed a bunch of pages that interested me, like imams and stuff. And now actually my Facebook newsfeed is filled with like a lot of nice stuff. It's a lot of like it's like a lot of religious content or people that I'm actually interested in. So I know that's not related to the talk, but I thought that was useful. But in terms of like, actually, you mentioned in the question like how to get used to Facebook and understand it. I think the cheapest way is like your son or your daughter, or just like a younger person who's like tech savvy. They don't need to know anything about Facebook ads or anything, but like just the ability to have that tech savviness, it makes it easier for them to navigate and use Facebook. And so, just spend some time with that person and watch how they do it and have them teach you, and that can sort of teach you the basics. Again, the very basics is you can run these ads completely from facebook.com. So for example, here's facebook.com. On the left, you go to your page that you manage, and you click the ad center. You click, like, these are all, they try and make it as simple as possible. You click create ad, and after a few more buttons, and of course having to enter in like your payment method, that will basically build your ad. The only other important thing you need to do now is like measure the results of your ad. You don't want to, last thing we want is anyone to not make use of the money. So when you run your ad, see how successful it was. Consider tuning the audience to better reach the people that you care about.
Okay, one time I wanted to have a, I wanted to boost, it was my first time ever in our organization, Facebook. We had an event. It was actually during the inauguration of Biden, and we had like an event, inauguration, and wanted to boost it. And so we put some money there, and we tried to boost it. It just did not go. It would not allow it to go. And I don't know why, but it did not go. So why would something like this happen?
Like it didn't allow it to start, like Facebook didn't allow it to start.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, it's not like, it's not like a Trump style, thing. It was just,
Yeah, I'd say the reason is like during that time, especially, there was a lot of like work and like Facebook being scared in general that like people would start putting out ads that, that we'd get a ton of flack for in the press, like related to like Trump and election. I wouldn't be surprised that they just completely stopped any sort of advertising related to the election or politics in that area, or they were just like really stringent. I know that was something that was going on. I'd say most likely that was the issue. So in fact, in this place where we're creating the ad, you see how they ask about if it's related to a special category, including social issues, elections, or politics. Even if you don't select this, they're going to try and check if you are, and if you are, you go through like more scrutiny, I'm pretty sure. So I would say that's what happened with the post, and they're not perfect. Like sometimes they'll say things can't be put on, like ads can't be made, and really like the ad's completely fine. And so you can try and ask for a re-review or yeah.
well, on this note, I mean, there are millions and millions of people are posting. How do they check each and every post, whether it is allowed or not? Is it like, kind of keywords that it looks into and automatically? Because I don't know, I cannot imagine there are people sitting there watching people's, what they post there and whether this is appropriate or not. What is the process, if you know? And there are other two questions that I'm gonna ask you from the audience here.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know 100% the concrete details, but I do know Facebook leverages like machine learning and AI really heavily. Like for example, on Facebook, you can't try and sell any sort of drug or alcohol, and like the algorithms at Facebook for detecting, like for example, I've heard weed, they're even more accurate than like human people. Like so, some of the algorithms are really really good at what they do, and I'm almost sure that they leverage that for these type of ads. And then probably what they do is if they're not sure, they'll flag it and then they'll go to a human reader. But in general, like what you said is right. There's just too much for an army of people to even do. So it's a lot of it is done through AI, and that means there's a lot of mistakes as well.
Yeah, because there is no way. I mean, there are millions and millions of people are on Facebook. That means they need millions and millions of people just to watch people. So, okay. Always in my mind, when they say, they're checking out this one, I said, okay, how many people? And there's Instagram and there's YouTube, and there are so many different things. And I mean, well, it's great. I mean, they're creating a lot of jobs, but I doubt it. It's a human. Okay, we got two questions. From Yusra, it says, how do we increase engagement with existing members? And then another question from Salah, that's what I need to learn. How make your Facebook, how can you make your Facebook private?
The Facebook private is a good question. If there's extra time when I'm waiting for questions after I answer the first question, I'm gonna, just be browsing while I'm waiting and figure that out. If you just Google it, I'm almost sure you can also figure that out, but that's a good thing. Making your Facebook private is something I'd encourage a lot of people to do. But on to the first question of if you want to increase engagement for existing users on your page, which is a pretty important thing. I'm almost sure there's supposed to be like a category for that, and I'm gonna try and find that. So I don't see it here in the existing one, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to the Facebook Business Suite. So again, this is like if you want to do anything more advanced than the simple ones on the facebook.com ads thing, then you come here. And so here I go to the more tools on the bottom and then ads manager. And ads manager is where we can make those detailed ads. So I'm going to try and create an ad here and see if there's an option that tries to, target your, yeah. But I will mention off the top of my head, that just reminded me your question. If we go here to insights, if you want to target the people, your existing users, the first thing we can figure out is who are your existing users. And I remember there's a lot of info on that here in the audience section. So let's look here at current audience. It says it's telling us who our current audience is. So let's say if I was making an ad for Tartiel and I specifically wanted people who already like my page to see this, then what I would do is I'd make a Facebook ad and I'd target men heavily. and I target people in the age from 25 to like 35 heavily, and I target people in Egypt also heavily because it's giving me here in the top cities, top countries. And then this is category called potential audience. It looks like something isn't working. 1 second. Yeah, for some reason the potential audience is not loading. So I guess it's kind of broken. I honestly don't know what this potential audience is. But that actually doesn't pertain to your question. But what that would be useful is if I could actually see the pages. Facebook's trying to give you some advice on who it thinks would like your page, what type of people. It's going to try and give you advice on that. So I wish it would have worked. I could have tried to show you guys that. Oop, no, not that. I'm just gonna try and fix something. These settings down here is just because sometimes they show me like beta stuff because I'm an employee, so I'm trying to remove that. Maybe that would help the page actually load. Okay, anyways, but yeah, on to the next question, how to make your Facebook private. I'm almost sure that would be under the settings. So, oh, that's the page settings. So yeah, you'd want to go to your, if there's any other questions, Nama, please let me know. But in the meantime, since there's, rather than not doing anything, I'd just like to answer this question. In the top right, there's a drop down arrow. You can click settings. And then let's see, I'm going to check settings. Privacy.
So your activity public, and you can edit. Is that where you can change that to private?
I think you're exactly right. Good catch. So once you're under settings, click privacy. You'll see there's a number of items like who can see your posts, who can send your friend requests. Just change all of these to private, and then you're basically, you're basically making it so, everything's private.
Yeah, like right here, if you change your activity and you edit that to, you will be able to edit it as private, right?
Yes. Yeah. If I change this to all this stuff to private, then people won't be able to see like the pages I like, my friends and stuff like that, I believe. So I think that's how you do it. So again, settings from the top right, and then the privacy page. Any other questions?
So far, these are the two questions that I had here on how to increase engagement with existing members, and the other one is about the privacy.
Got it. The last thing I'll mention here is Facebook does have a lot of helpful material to try and make it easy for you people to use ads. So at the bottom here, you can see Help Center. So clicking that, it takes you to a place where it tries and like teach you how to use ads. So if you want to do anything like fancier or increase your knowledge on this, make your ads more efficient, better use of the money, I definitely encourage you to read these, or just type YouTube how to use Facebook ads and just go from there. The amount of information to learn on this is limitless on the internet.
Okay, great. There are no more questions so far, and I believe we are exactly on the dot with time. This is 1 hour. If there are no other questions, we may let you spend your night relaxing and getting ready for tomorrow. Amar, thank you very much for your presentation, and it is very useful, very helpful. And now we know you. In case people have any specific questions after this, we'll make sure to forward it to you, and then maybe you can answer those on your time and the question or time, so that you can, inshallah, address those. I think this program that you guys have engaged our community with this live streaming camera and the webinars that you are providing are really highly appreciated and welcomed, and we thank you for it. Again, on behalf of everyone here, thank you, Omar, and thanks to our participants who wanted to listen and take advantage of these webinars. Thank you very much. Any final words, Omar, you want to say?
Thank you, Brother Osama and Malik, for setting this up. If anyone has any questions, please, contact these brothers, and they can contact me or contact me directly. Let me quickly put my email in the chat. You can email me directly, and I'd be happy to help.
Okay.